And I'm assuming it's okay to record this, Caitlin, correct?
Oh, yeah, I get recorded all the time.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Well, and I think
I
I
do
asked
recordings
her.
all the time. I've got a big YouTube channel, so
Awesome.
that's awesome. Okay, great. So, yeah, I love that I'm getting to share this. I got to share with her about my abundance journey, and it really goes back, to when I was a child and my parents were really young. I was born when my mother was 22 and my father was 24, and he was supposed to get commissioned into the Marines. He had been on the front lines of Korea and then got to go to college, and then the Korean War ended and they were not giving, he was going to be an officer and he had high blood pressure and they didn't give it to him. So then they were scrambling for finances, and my mom got pregnant with me and I came 9 months after they got married. So my whole journey with them growing up was the challenge around finances. And I thought I'd healed a lot of it. And then I got in, I was well into my second marriage and found that we struggled a lot financially. We had 4 kids we were raising, and it was not an easy journey. And on my birthday in 2004, one of my priestess sisters gave me John Randolph Price, The Abundance Book. It's just a little book, a 40-day process. And she gave me a little journal with it. And that totally changed my life. I started doing that process and writing out the affirmations. You write one a day. And then I kept a journal, like what was going on for me and how I was experiencing abundance or not having abundance, because all the things that are in the way of our intention come up for us to process and to clear and to deal with. And that was coming up for me in a lot of ways. And one of them was that I had been invited to go to Hawaii to help facilitate a swim with the dolphins. And that was in June. It was the end of May, June 2004. And my husband at the time, when I found a plane ticket, $500 round trip plane ticket, I thought that was pretty good because I'd been doing a lot of research trying to find the best one. And he said, "Oh, I can find you a cheaper ticket. You don't buy that one. I'll get you one." And so I said, "Okay." And I let it go. And then we were 2 weeks before I had to leave. And suddenly I realized he never got the plane ticket. And I went to look online for a plane ticket, and they were all $1,200 to $1,600. I was flipping out. Like, oh no. But I kept researching, and I found one that if I left on a certain date and I came back on a certain date, which meant I had to be there for 3 weeks instead of a week, I got it for $800, which was half of what most of the plane tickets were. So because also we were had stopped being able to pay our credit cards, and I had no way to pay for it over on the phone. I had to drive to the airport and pay them cash for this plane ticket. And and it was I was excited about staying there for 3 weeks. I was like, oh, this will be cool. And I had friends I could stay with, and everything just kind of fell together for me to be there for that 3 weeks. And as I was getting ready to leave, I was still doing my abundance work, and I was finishing my first 40 days. And I'm like, okay, I need to do another 40 days. So I started another 40 days of that process right as I was leaving for Hawaii. And I kept a journal of the abundance work and then also of all the things I got to do there. And I reread that a couple of years ago, and it was amazing. Like, I had such abundance in ways that I didn't even know were possible, and such magical experiences in that 3 weeks. It was really changed so much for me. And I got home, and my husband at the time, that second husband of mine, was angry that I had been gone for so long. And so he was just being really difficult. And I he had to go, he was supposed to go to the dentist, and he wanted me to take him. So I got up early in the morning to take him to the dentist, but I wasn't really going to stay. I was going to come back. We lived a mile from the dentist's office, and I was going to come back, take a shower, get ready, and come back. And he was like furious that I would even consider doing that. And I wasn't going to wait for him in the dentist's office the whole time while he was going to the dentist. So he took himself. and he was really angry, and a whole lot of things unfolded around that. And he was just not being good. And I was in a ceremony for a full moon ceremony. Actually, interesting that we're doing this on a full moon today. And telling my priestess sisters what was going on. And I hadn't really talked about much about it. And it was the first time I kind of felt like everybody else was sharing their deeper, darker pieces. And so I was like, okay, guess I'm supposed to share mine. And they all recognized right away that he was suffering from PTSD and that he was getting more activated, and that we needed to do an intervention. And also during this time, we wound up realizing we were going to have to go through bankruptcy. He didn't want to do it, and we were trying to find other ways to pay off our debt and so on. And so we wound up in this bankruptcy process. And as going through the bankruptcy, and he had been keeping track of all of our finances, and I was kind of a little surprised that it was as bad as it was. Like, I couldn't figure out what was really going on. And what happened was I started seeing the credit card statements that he wouldn't let me see before, and I saw all these charges to casinos. He'd been gambling.
Ah,
I was
ah.
like, what? Okay, so going through, starting to realize that, and we were also in counseling at the time, because from the intervention, we got him to a psychiatrist, and we were both going to a counselor, same counselor, separately and together. And when I found all the credit card statements that had the gambling charges on it, I told my counselor, and I said I was afraid to ask him about it because he'd get really angry. And she said, well, we'll talk about it when we're in our next session together. And she didn't do a very good job. He was furious, and it just put everything into a really bad situation. Meanwhile, all this time I'm continuing to do the abundance work, and eventually he starts to get a little bit better, a little less volatile, and things start to feel a little bit more manageable. And the other thing that was also happening was I was afraid to answer the phone because it was the phone company saying they're about to turn off our phone, or it was the electric company saying they were about to turn off, and we'd get the pink slips in the mail, and it was just so stressful. And the credit card company is also wondering when we're going to start paying our credit cards. It's like, okay, so we filed for bankruptcy, got through the bankruptcy, and it basically wiped the slate clean. And we were able to, and then in that process, he asked me for a divorce. And I was just so relieved and grateful at that time. I was not only relieved, but I was also in a lot of grief because we'd been together for 15, 16 years by that time. And there had been a lot of love and great things that had happened, but I just was tired of walking on eggshells. And so as the bankruptcy was completing, I wound up moving out and starting my own life based on, I had created a business doing my astrology work and so on, and I found out I could support myself. But I didn't know that because I had been giving him all my money to pay our bills, and it was just vanishing into the ethers. And so I didn't know that I had that ability. So wipe the slate clean, and I'm starting to see, oh my God, this abundance thing is really working, because now I am not only paying my bills on time, never late. I'm rebuilding my credit. So I finally was able to get another credit card that I couldn't for several months, but then finally I got one, and I was like $1,000 limit. But over time I was able to build that back up. And so when I look back at what I was doing then with doing this abundance, writing down these affirmations every day and focusing my attention on creating a different experience and relationship to that, really the abundance comes from within us, and healing all those places within me, because this was me really, I think, experiencing what my parents had experienced when I was growing up, and I kind of got the secondhand experience of that. So what the other thing that was happening was that I really admire and appreciate John Randolph Price's work, but he would make the statements in ways that didn't really resonate as much for me. I had been studying conscious language. I had recognized that it's better to state it as if it's already happening rather than it's going to happen, or that this is what I'm working towards. So I took a lot of the statements and rewrote them to be more present in the moment, to be I think, I don't know, there was some other wording there that just didn't land quite right for me, so I reworded it so I liked it. And started the process all over again. By the time I was done, I think I'd done like 6 months of the process. And then I found myself in a relationship with my current husband. He's my third husband. We got married in October of 2006, so it's been almost 18 years. And I call him my BHE, best husband ever. And he matches my desire for healthy finances like I've never experienced before in my life. And he comes with his own way of being, he's just not messing around, I guess. And, or being sneaky or things behind my back, like had been happening with my second marriage. So that's really the story of how I came through this. And I feel like I'm living a more abundant life and rich in all the different ways, the joy, the love, the fun, the playfulness, all the different ways that we can be rich, not just with finances, but also in health and wealth and, and our well-being. And so that's essentially the essence of what brings me here today, because I shared that with Yvonne, and I love that you're doing this, Yvonne, and I'm imagining that's already starting to work for you.
My life is different, that is for sure, and I'm appreciative in a very different way. I would love to hear the tie-in to what's happening with this full moon.
Yes. Okay. So earlier today, we had the exact full moon when the sun and the moon are exactly opposite each other. The sun was at 29 degrees Cancer. The moon was at 29 degrees Capricorn. And Capricorn is the archetypal energy that has to do with how we responsibly administrate the world within and around us. So how are we showing up to take care of our domain, to take care of the world that we're experiencing, and to do it in a responsible way? And also Capricorn loves this to say, how do you do less and accomplish more? How do you be so effective and efficient at what you're doing, you get the best results with the least amount of effort? So how cool is that? Because we've been raised in a culture that basically has said you've got to work hard, and then maybe you'll experience some abundance, or you'll be able to survive anyway if you work really hard at it. And I think that's not really the essence of Capricorn. That has been the cultural belief around it that we've been conditioned into. And so I think Capricorn is an energy that recognizes the abundance of the earth, and that if we're tending to that in the best ways possible, then we're going to have a more abundant experience in our life. So the 29th degree of any sign is its most comprehensive expression. And so a couple of other things about this full moon is that it's outside the boundaries of the sun. The sun can rise and set along the horizon at the June solstice furthest north in the northern hemisphere, furthest south in the furthest north in the northern hemisphere, but it's summer solstice, and it's winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. It's furthest south at the December solstice, which is winter solstice in the northern hemisphere and summer solstice in the southern hemisphere. And the sun can never go beyond those bounds. And then the equinoxes are exactly due east and due west. So the sun has like a framework that it works within. And if you watch it on the horizon, you'll see, oh, there, I have a mountain range. And so there's different places like, oh, we're really getting close to summer solstice because this is where the sun is on the mountain. Or we're really getting close to winter solstice because this is where it is not on the mountain anymore. So from where I live, so I get to track that. And then, oh yeah, here's the equinoxes and it rises in a certain, that's in a certain place on the horizon. Well, the moon does the same thing as the sun, but every 19 years, and for 2 or 3 years before and after the exact 19-year midpoint, it rises outside the boundaries of the sun. So it's rising further north and further south on the horizon, or setting further north and further south. And that's happening now today as, and in Scotland, they built standing stone circles to track the 19-year lunar standstill. So these stone circles, there's one specifically that the moon looks like it rolls right through the stone circle, because it's when the moon is walking on the land, or it's not rising, but it doesn't go high up into the sky, it just stays right on the horizon. And then it disappears and reappears in a V, and then it looks like it's right inside the stone circle. So, and I just got back from being there to witness it. Of course, it was cloudy for the sunset at the solstice was amazing, but the moon wasn't visible because of the clouds. So, but now we're having this happen again. So we had the June solstice, full moon was at 1 degree Capricorn, and now we have this full moon at 29 degrees at that anaretic degree, at that most comprehensive expression of Capricorn. And a couple to have 2 full moons in the same sign, that only happens maybe every 33 months, about every 3 years. So it doesn't happen all that often. And so it's also technically, we could say, a blue moon. And there's other ways that the blue moons are looked at. Some say 2 full moons in a month. That doesn't really, I mean, that just has to do with our Gregorian calendar that people made up. Somebody made it up. So it's like, January 1st doesn't start with a seasonal point. It just starts as an arbitrary date. So this is significant. And the other piece is how out of bounds. So the moon being outside the boundaries means that we're able to maybe see things outside the boundaries of what we've been conditioned to believe is true. So that's the energy of this full moon. And it's also representative of how in September, this planet Pluto comes back to 29 degrees Capricorn, and will be in 29 degrees Capricorn until November 19th, when it goes back into Aquarius. So this is presaging something. This is like that Pluto is all about, okay, what's not working? What's so disempowering to our culture, to our society, to the people within that society? What is not really working in how we've structured our reality? And Pluto is here to bring light to that, to bring a consciousness to that, to bring awareness to that. And we can see that there's a lot of crazy energy on the world stage happening. And hopefully we don't get too caught up in that, because what we really want to do is pay attention to how is that landing for us? How have we structured our lives in ways that are working, that are effective, efficient, get the best results, that allow us to feel, have the time to be the most playful and have fun and express ourselves in ways that are fulfilling and that help us to feel that life is worth living. Like, oh yeah, I'm so glad I get to be here now. And ultimately, we could also say we're the ones that are the change agents. We're here to bring the changes, because we have the consciousness, we have the awareness, and how we do that within ourselves reflects in the outer world. So Nicole Christine, my priestess mentor, would always say, if that it's inside, from the inside out. It's what's happening internally is reflected externally, and what's happening externally is lets you know what's going on for you internally and where you maybe need to focus your attention. She was a Capricorn, by the way, so she would have been very tuned into that. And just another little quick piece is when I was raising my kids back in the day, we were watching Fantasia, Walt Disney movie Fantasia. And in the movie, there's the scene where the nature fairies are changing the seasons. And so there's the winter season, the frost and the ice, and they're making all these designs and in the frost and they're dancing and playing, and then spring comes and the flowers are blooming and they're dancing and playing, and then they bring on the summer and the fall, and they're just having a great time the whole time. And I said, that is Capricorn. That is Capricorn having fun, getting to do what it's here to do, but it's playful and creative and fun in the process. And so that helped me to shift my perspective on Capricorn even more. So I hope that that helps us to see it in a different way, because it's not that it's just about hard work, put your nose to the grindstone. You've got to work hard in order to prove yourself to some external authority. It's like, no, how are you experiencing it inside yourself, from the inside out? And so I feel like this Capricorn moon is giving us an opportunity to really focus on what our intention and where our attention is. What is our intention, and how are we focusing our attention to bring that intention into manifest form? So,
I
any
love
other?
that.
Yeah.
I've
Anything else?
got a paper towel. I just wrote that down. I couldn't find paper. You would think my desk would be in better order, but I just wrote that down. Intention versus attention. That's beautiful. Well, I know, Nikki, you and I talked about, we did this for 40 plus days, I think, because we didn't quite do it, as you said, perfectly. What do you think you got out of the process of the abundance?
Well, I felt like it really enhanced or augmented the podcasts I've been listening to and sort of the evolution, because I've been in a mediumship course as well, just trying to study the effect of being able to intend and see and be and feel, and just kind of be in a different awareness of what is possible. And so it was able to give me more support in just turning my words, like you said, you were a wordsmith, and I'm really into that right now. It's like, even though I still speak the negative or habitual or trained words, I still know the difference. And I say, okay, how could I have rephrased that? And I just had a big meeting this past week with 3 people who are all in sort of psychic awareness kinds of fields. And we were talking about how can we change the way that we have these languages and these ways of speaking. And like you said, you rewrote these affirmations in a positive way as though they are already here. And that was so meaningful, because to me, always aspiring to achieve something reminds me of my father's struggle, where he was waiting for his ship to come in. Oh, someday they're going to recognize me and my gifts. And it's like, no, it's about you putting yourself out there and actually making it happen, and being in that sense of it already is. And so therefore I'm going to attract the people that are in that vibration or frequency, or how you want to call that. So it was very helpful to me. Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah.
And I love what you're saying, because it does take, it's a practice. It
Yeah.
takes time for us. So I catch myself sometimes still, and I've been doing this for a while now, because I started back in 2004. And actually, even before that, I was aware of the conscious language, like creating intentions that are as if they're already happening, and not saying I'm no longer sick, I am healthy. We
Yes.
want to say it in the terms of what we want, not what we don't want.
Right.
Really important. I'm no longer poor. No, I'm wealthy. I'm abundant. I have all my needs are met and then some, or however we want to
Right.
say that. And then and then when we're in conversation with people, it's like noticing, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I recognize. And then you can, maybe if you're with people that are okay with that, you can correct yourself in the moment. And then we just practice it. And I find that I'm better at it now than I was then, but I still have lapses in certain moments. And
Well,
yeah.
if you think about media and movies and all of our education pieces, it's all about the old stuff. And it's about, not doing this and not being that. It's like I tell people like you all the time, I don't get sick. It's like, well, wait a minute, that's putting sickness into my awareness. So it's like, I'm as healthy as ever and I've got good genes, is how I need to put that. Not I don't get sick. It's I'm healthy and I have good genes.
Yeah.
as an
Yeah,
example.
'cause then you're really enforcing and really celebrating, in a sense, what is true and what you choose to have be true in your being and in your experience.
Yeah.
And yeah, we haven't been really trained how to do this. So we're the change makers. We're the change agents. We're the ones that are helping to create it in a new way. And hopefully we pass that along. As we do that, we become the example of how to do that.
Yeah. How about anybody else in your ministries? How are you
Well-
intending and
well,
putting yourself into
I
that?
just have one question.
Mhm.
To anyone who might listen to this, whatever, how do people attain abundance? Yeah, and put that in 5 words.
Yeah.
And I realize that's incredibly, because I looked up living abundantly and whatever. No one ever described how to achieve abundance. And I thought, oh, okay.
I love this question. I think there's several answers. Probably one is practicing being grateful for the abundance you do have, the abundance of love, the abundance of friends, the abundance of, living in a home, whatever that might look like for you, or just finding the things that you're grateful for and practicing being grateful every day for those things and whatever else comes along. I often find myself as I go to sleep at night, just saying, I'm so grateful for my life. There were times when I just wanted out of this life really badly, but now I'm really grateful that I'm in this life because that's turned around. So I think that, and again, I love that Yvonne chose one of the statements is, I am rich in love, I am rich in joy, I am rich with um, play and fun and creativity and all those things, because abundance is all of that. It's not just financial abundance, although that's part of it. And it definitely helps us to, oh yeah, beautiful. I am rich with wisdom. I'm rich with magic, one of my favorite, and I'm rich with miracles. How cool is that? And I feel like I have magic and miracles in my life all the time now, where I didn't feel that way years ago. So, I'm the other thing I sometimes feel like we don't have enough time is time. We don't have enough of is time. So I am rich with time and timeliness, being on time, but also having enough time for everything that I need. So there's so many different ways that we can uh, view what is abundance. And then how do we achieve abundance is we vibrate with gratitude for the abundance we already have, and more comes to us when we are in that space. And I feel like that's what John Randolph Price was really in the practice, in his abundance book Practice. It's about celebrating and acknowledging that the source of everything is within us. We tend to seek it outside of us because that's the conditioning that we've been we grew up with, we've dealt with. It's like there wasn't enough. I definitely grew up with there wasn't enough. And so to change that perspective, to change that experience, I needed to change how it was vibrating inside of me, and doing this practice just made all the difference. It really helped. So I think it starts with an intention, and putting attention on the abundance that you already have. That you have food, that you have family, friends, community, that there's a rich abundance that is connected with that as well. So just being grateful and celebrating those pieces will attract more abundance because you're vibrating with that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yeah. It's not that I was trying to figure out, but that message needs to be really straightforward, or as straightforward as it can be. I mean, you have to do homework, but you know, I looked, I searched YouTube for abundance, and it was awful when I got back. And not one thing told me what an abundant, they didn't sell me on living an abundant life. And I want you to sell me on it. if you live your life abundantly, you'll hopefully do this. You know, there was no joy in the message, only fear. God demands you be abundant, and no matter what, you be abundant. And
Or just listen to this frequency and you will be abundant.
well, that's it. Or prosperity gospel, give me enough money and you will be abundant. But they never tell them how, and I mean, I'm just using that as an example. So I was glad to hear your explanation, and it's appreciating what we got
Yeah.
and cherishing it.
Yes. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that word too. Cherishing it.
Yeah.
One of my mentors also is along the same line as you in expecting fun and magic and all of these things that are just outside of what you would expect living life to be, right? We're taught to work hard and put your head to the grindstone instead of going out and having fun or expecting magical things to happen. We literally went on a treasure hunt for a few days in a row, just expecting to see things that we would never expected to have seen. I had so many toys and I had things. She even found money. And it's like, this is amazing when you just set your mind to it. And it's like you vibrate at that level and those things kind of, you can
Find you.
see them. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that I love about living a more abundant life now, especially financially, is that I can help support people that I know are having challenges financially.
Yeah.
One of my best friends that I've known since part of my background is I was involved in transcendental meditation. My parents were both TM teachers, and I went to the college back in 1975. Was a while back. And so this friend of mine who has, we've known each other since then, and we've been best friends, and she now lives in Tucson, has been going through a very difficult time. And I was able to help her financially, to just ease that piece for her. And it felt so good. I was just so happy that I had the resources to do that.
Hi, Dolly. Good to see you. Any other stories or questions?
Actually, I had something happen yesterday. We were supposed to go to this party. I really didn't want to go, but there's something in me that I always know when I really don't want to do something, I need to go. So we went and we talked to a few people, but then the band started playing, and my husband is a dance freak. So we were up there dancing, and the only other people that were dancing was this young couple who we didn't really talk to. But at the end of the day, we started talking to each other, and I said to her, "What's your name?" And she said, "Melissa." My husband goes, "What's your last name?" So she told him, and he goes, "Oh my God, this is the woman you were hoping to connect with because she wrote a book similar to mine and has other connections that I don't have." So we talked to them for an hour in the parking lot. I gave her husband a reading. He is actually going back to Guatemala to meet with his ancestors because he is going to receive his gift from his ancestors. He's got psychic abilities in the family and they pass it along that way. So, I mean, it was just like total miracle, total wonderful fun. We haven't had fun together in a while. We just laughed. The guys in the band came up to us and said, "You guys, made us being here worth it tonight because you're the only ones that were dancing." And
Yeah.
I bought their t-shirt, and their t-shirt, they call themselves Good Trouble. And I thought, oh, that's me. So that's gonna be my nickname, I guess, Good Trouble. But it's just, you put it out there that I put it out there that I really wanted to meet this woman. And there were 3 or 4 of us in this association of writers that wrote similar books, but she was the one I focused on because it reminded me more of mine. And she's an amazing young woman. And so I just know I just made a brand new friend, and that she and her husband, because she's a writer, I write, her husband's an artist, my husband's an artist.
Wow,
So it
that's
was
so
like,
cool.
yeah, it's like,
That's
whoa,
cool.
okay, thank you, universe. And even Matthew said, thank you, universe. Who knew? I said, well, I did.
That's
So,
awesome.
I love that story. It reminds me of when I was going through my first divorce and my life was so miserable and I wanted to die. I read Lynn Andrews' book, Medicine Woman.
oh
And
yes.
at the end of that book, I was like, I want to live a magical life. Because she just had all these synchronicities and magical things happening all the time. And it just inspired me. And it changed, it started changing things for me. I started living more synchronistically, more magic, like you were talking about. You didn't want to go, but you went, and then this whole amazing thing happens, and you know you're on track when the universe is sending you those kinds of experiences. It's like pure magic.
Mm.
Amazing. And I read all of Lynn Anderson's books, and she's amazing. She helped me change my life too. So
Beautiful.
How does one put an abundant life into practice?
Say it again.
Great.
I only heard part of it. Sorry, Kevin.
I was asking, how does a person put abundant life into practice?
Oh, okay.
That's a really good question. First of all, I think we need to vibrate with abundance, so we're having abundance, and then what we also, if we can help and support other people. And I know that many traditions talk about tithing. I don't tithe in traditional ways. I try to do it in different kinds of ways, but I just it's like
Give.
to allow the abundance to flow through you. You don't just hold on to it. You share it with others. And I think that's a great practice for how you live an abundant life. And then more comes, just keeps coming. And it's also not just an abundant life, but a magical life where magical things are happening that you would have never even imagined were possible. And just the being, just paying attention and then being grateful for those things. And that's how we continue to live an abundant life, a magical life.
Yeah. And then we are a witness to our friends who see our abundant life and they want it too.
It's a choice. You do need to choose it.
Yeah.
So sometimes people say they want it, but they're not willing to choose it or to step up and make the changes or shift the vibration within them so that they can have that experience. And it is a commitment. It is a practice. It is something that once we say yes to, and then we practice and follow up on that, then it happens. It's like there's not much more we have to do, but we do need to make the shifts inside ourselves so that that can come to us.
I think too, if you look at who you're hanging around, and if you see that there are people who are kind of like crabs in a crab barrel, holding you back by constantly putting you into turmoil or whatever it is, if you can cut some of those cords and find other people who are a little bit lighter to be around, and
Mhm.
that can make a big difference.
And as you shift inside yourself, you will start to attract more people that are like that to you. And then you
Yeah.
don't feel like you need those people that are dragging you down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you might find that you lift them up. You're helping to lift them up, because I often talk about something I call the blame, shame, and complain game. And there's people that they're so victimy, they're just always blaming, always shaming, always complaining. And I I mean, we can all have our moments, and sometimes it's good to vent, but then let it go. Don't keep hanging on to it and going and venting with somebody else, or to keep that story going constantly in your field. So how do we get to the place where we're in that more celebratory place, cherishing what it is that we already have, and really valuing the magic and the miracles that come to us when we are open to receive them. But we have to be open.
Yeah. So we have a psychologist in the house. Bobby, do you have anything to share?
It's on mute.
She's
Muted.
muted.
Somebody has to unmute you. Is Charlie at the computer?
There he is. There we got it.
I'm sorry, Nikki, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to
What'd
see
you
if
say?
you had any comments or ideas about how to be in that higher state of wellness and well-being so that you can attract that into your life and get rid of some of the
Talking about
negativity.
abundance, right?
Yes, for abundance.
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, you have to accept that you are abundant and make that a part of who you are. I am abundant. I enjoy it. I give thanks for abundance. I live a life of abundance. And so you absorb it into who you are. And then step number 2 would be, how do you help other people find abundance? Because most of us can go back to our childhood and see a history of lack and limitation.
Yeah.
But we don't have enough. We want to go on vacation, but we don't have the money for it. It's that what we focus on what we don't have rather
Right.
than what we do. And if we do want something, we don't have it. What do we do to make sure that we can start saving up and redirecting our funds in that direction?
Hmm.
So rather than just whining and complaining, do something about it. Take action.
I like that.
Beautiful.
Abundance of seagulls in the background. You're in
Well,
the
I was going to
beautiful
say
place.
the abundance of the birds, and earlier we had baby's feet. I could see baby's feet on your camera, Bobby.
Yes, yes,
Great grands.
yes.
Sweet, thank you.
One of Shirley's affirmations from the awakening process always stuck with me. It's, what if you stopped complaining and blaming everybody for what's going on in your life and did something? And I just love that. I got that framed on my mirror. Because
Yes.
it's so true. I mean, how many of us just sit there and bitch and moan, but don't do anything?
Yeah.
And of course, it's somebody else's fault that you can't do anything. Well, can't means I won't.
Right.
So
Exactly.
just a thought.
I mean, there are some things in the world we can't do, but there's many more things that we simply won't do.
Right.
It's not that we are unable or incapable. It's that we don't wish to put forth the effort.
No.
I love what you're saying, Bobby, because I had an encounter with my father some years ago, and he was having heart issues, and he had a really rough life. And so I said, you probably have some heart healing you need to do, like the emotional healing of your heart. And his response was, I know, and I'm not going there. He was really clear about it.
I know, and what?
I'm not going there. I'm not choosing to do that. I'm not going to do that. He was
Well,
choosing
that's
to
clear.
stay where he was. He was choosing to stay where he was. There's nothing you can do. If somebody wants to make that choice, that's their right to make that choice.
Then I think my responsibility there would be to support him where he is and say, if that's your choice, I support it. It makes me sad, but I accept that that's how you feel. And I
Right.
will support that.
Yes.
I mean, people have the right to say, I like being miserable, leave me alone. Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. You want to be miserable? You have every right to choose that. And I will support you in your need.
Yeah.
I won't go along with you on the trip, but I wasn't invited anyway. So it doesn't matter.
Good point.
Mhm.
All right. Anything you wanted to say in closing, Cayelin? We so appreciate your being here. This is really interesting.
Oh, it's been my pleasure so much. I feel like I've pretty much said everything.
Awesome.
Just thank you so much. And one of the things I love about sharing this is that I get to realize yet again how far I've come. myself, and that I hope that it inspires others to if they, to recognize and celebrate how far you've come personally, and then there's always more, always more.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your website. I can put a connection to it. Your YouTube page.
On my front page of my website are some links to YouTube that I have done that'll take you to my YouTube channel. I mostly focus on the astrological mysteries, what's happening and how we can best work with them.
Will you turn around so you can see it, Cheryl?
Say what?
I'm sorry, I was talking to my husband. Excuse me.
Okay. So it's focused on the astrological mysteries. That you'll see that on the banner it says, "We inform the mysteries as much as they inform us." We are co-creative participants in this reality. So when we understand what's possible, like what's happening at this full moon, and that we're having this conversation, how aligned that is with the mysteries that are happening in the sky, and then how we're showing up and aligning ourselves with that right now, is one of those miraculous moments. And so we're helping to inform. We're looking at, oh, so how can I live a more abundant life? How can I live a more magical, fun, playful, creative, loving, caring kind of life, and put that energy into the world, because that's what's going to change everything. We can't battle all the nonsense that's going on in the world. All we can do is bring a higher vibrational energy to that, from within ourselves. And if enough of us do it, it will change everything.
And what is your channel called?
My YouTube channel?
YouTube channel called.
Cayelin Castell.
Okay.
Yeah. You can access the YouTubes from my website. So, and maybe I could send the link to Yvonne, and maybe she can make that available to you all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely, I think we already shared that, didn't we? And
Well,
certainly.
you sent my website, but not my YouTube channel, I think is what
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And in fact, there's a video that was posted yesterday about what's happening today, and also the rest of the month, and with my Astro Priestess Roundtable. But I also did some other ones on this full moon, so you'll be able to find them. I'll send links.
Okay, I'll try to connect the two messages together.
I'll send Yvonne links, and she can send them on.
Okay. Thank you all.
Very good. So I'll read
Sorry, I didn't mean to dominate things.
No, it's good. It's all good. We all learn from each other. So I'll read this ceremonial money blessing invocation. I gratefully invite the power of my own inner divine authority to assist me in cleansing, purifying, and healing all money and financial wounds, positively transforming all interactions with finances and money, including cash, coins, gold, silver, banknotes, debit and credit cards, checks, recurring monthly bills, taxes, online bank statements and/or paper statements, bonds, investments, cryptocurrency, NFTs, and all financially valuable assets, etc., flowing to me, being stored or circulated within my individual sphere of influence from any and all lovingly abundant sources. I welcome you, money, and all forms of divinity, healthy financial wealth, into my loving embrace of infinite abundance, merging into peaceful harmony with the boundless abundance of love, joy, time, energy, connection, gratitude, fun, and infinite goodness already living within and reflected all around me through the wonder of my body, mind, spirit, and soul, and through my nearest and dearest, my loved ones, family, friends, co-creators, and collaborators, and through the blessings of our beautiful, precious Earth Mother. These streams of money and abundance are flowing easily into my personal sphere of influence, growing, multiplying, increasing, proliferating, expanding, widening, diversifying in surprising, unexpected, and mysterious, generous ways, going far beyond my conscious awareness and what I've ever imagined, vibrating within every cell, within every quantum particle of my being, allowing this abundant flow to increase within me and all around me through synchronicity, creativity, and loving kindness, including delightful insight and ingenuity. All financial assets, all money flowing to me are serving my highest and best experiences, supporting me in living my divine purpose in ways that are joyful, magical, prosperous, and fun. I share this abundance with all life as I know and experience daily how I am an essential part of our beloved planet and all life, seen and unseen, across all dimensions of time and space, transmuting and transforming all lower vibrational energy into higher vibrational energy for pure love and loving abundance. So I am easily attracting more love, more financial abundance, and radiant health and well-being now and forevermore. It is done. It is so. So it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Blessed be.
Amen.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank
Cayelin,
you.
those are beautiful words. Thank you for repurposing those.
Beautiful. Very nice.
So
Thank,
glad that
thank you for sharing today. I really appreciate it.
You
We've
don't
spent
have
the
any-
last couple of Sundays together and I've enjoyed both of them. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I so appreciate it. It reminds me of my connections to all of this, and I getting out my book, Brothers of the Grape, that Nicole repurposed, and getting to see all that, just what she was doing with that. And I also have her copy of Blessed Among Women, and it's just like blowing my mind about reconnecting with all of these things that haven't been as present in my awareness recently. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
You're welcome back anytime.
Just come visit.
That's right. Come hang out.
Yeah, I would love that.
All right.
Please do.
So next week we have Terry doing her 4th Sunday of the month on a guided meditation, and wherever she's landed in her transition into more and more awareness and psychic abilities with finding missing persons, speaking with animals, and being very present in the presence process. So anybody have parting words? Otherwise, it's a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Board meeting. Board
Yes.
meeting next week.
The board meeting
Yeah.
next week is open to all. There will be a couple of voting issues, but not too much. But there is a lot to be talked about because this is the half-year point. And so that will be held 1/2 hour after this service, so at the bottom of this hour next week. And we'll have an agenda, and anybody's welcome to come and witness. And then the board members themselves are the voting members. And if you have any issues you want us to bring up, feel free, share, let us know. This is for everybody.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you.
You have a great week, everyone.
Yeah, have a great week.
Blessed
Okay,
week.
bye-bye.
Take
Love
care,
you
everyone.
all.